Ladies and gentlemen, please sit down. I want you to please speak with your hands and listen with your eyes. Because right now, I'm about to take you on a trip and to a new culture that people rarely hear about called deaf culture. So my overview. So I'm going to overview my titles, ideas and plans, my inspiration, what I did over the summer, month by month. Basically, it's all 9 months what I did in school, what I learned, and my thank yous. So, and during Plan A, originally I wanted to, quote unquote, get Las Vegas clean, or in other words, I want to help the homeless get off of drugs and get back on get back to have like a second chance. But the only problem with that was I needed kids to help me with this, and I didn't want them to be endangered by the homeless. So, you don't want your children to get robbed, do you? So then I had to put my thinking cap on, like that picture over there, and I was like, do you know what else I can also do? I can also teach kids about what I also love about, which is deaf culture. So some of my inspirations over here, you can see over here, is a show on ABC called Switch at Birth. And for people who don't know what Switch at Birth is, it's basically a show about literally two girls growing up, and they were literally, get this, switched at birth. And so one of the main characters was born deaf all of her life, and she has to go through a series of events. And then the other guy on the right, or left, how you see it, is a man named Matt the Hammer Hamill. He is a UFC fighter. So, and during his life, he wanted to grow up to be a somebody. So he wanted to do what quote unquote hearing people can also do, which is become a UFC fighter. So in the summer, I applied to college back in 2015, or late 2015, to Nevada State College. And in the college, they had a program called American Sign Language 1, which basically we got to talk about vocabs. Basically, we learned about colors, people, names, the basics. So in September, I was planning to make a deaf culture club in November, and also in September, I had what we do each month. We get down a deaf gathering, and we just talk to people, just like random strangers, in American Sign Language. And a person that I met is actually my sister's teacher, named Professor David Kelsey. And as some of you may know, Professor David Kelsey was born all his life. And he was a pretty cool dude. He's really chill about stuff. So I sat down next to David Kelsey and asked him, hey, would you like to come to our school and talk about your life? Literally, his words were, yeah, man. He's a cool guy. And also during September, we had an event called A Day Without Words. Basically, most of the students only communicate with one another with sign language. And on the right, on the left, you can see Deaf Culture Club flyer, which I made. Deaf Culture Club was always Fridays during lunch, and I also had an assistant come with me. And my assistant was actually my sister, who is also from Nevada State College. She took ASL 1 through 5, and she also is now a student aide for people who need to be taught ASL, to also need to be taught ASL to other students who need help. And she gets paid. So in October, as some of you may remember him, Professor David Kelsey came to our school, which he was a really cool dude. And he was like, hey man, and then he was talking about his life and everything like that. He was very fly, and how I remember how he grew up. And also what I noticed about the interpreter said museum, but actually Professor David Kelsey actually worked in McDonald's, and that's when I knew my ASL skills kicked in. And so after after when the lecture was over, Professor David Kelsey came to me and he was like, your students are the most pleasant, most thoughtful, most grateful students I ever taught about a lecture to. In college, college students, they always are very, very rude. They also talk on their phones, talking to each other, and just don't listen. So for that, he really thanks you guys for being here. Give yourself a round of applause. So in November, that's when Deaf Culture Club starts. We introduce ourselves, our future plans, and we learn half of the alphabet. So in the beginning of my Deaf Culture Club, I introduced what I wanted to do, which is basically interpret a song in ASL format. But the only problem was we don't know which song we had to do it yet. We haven't decided the song yet. And we also taught some of the students the half of the alphabet first, like A, B, C, and more. And the first day of Deaf Culture Club, actually had surprisingly 27 people came to the first day, which I thought only like 5 or 6 would actually came, which I was really thankful for. So in December we spelled their names in ASL format, and we also learned the signs for who, what, where, and why. So right now, you guys, I'm going to teach you the sign for who, what, where, and why. So with your dominant hand, left or right, whichever dominant, you're gonna make an L shape, kind of like crooked it, point to your chin, and be like who. Who. The next sign is what. So basically, you're gonna take both of your hands and just shake them around, be like a confused face, and be like what. The next sign is where. So basically, you're gonna wiggle your finger and be like where. Where. And the last sign is why. So basically, you're going to kind of like scratch your head a little bit and be like, why? So who, what, where, why? So in January, this is the part where it gets very, very deep. So on the night of January 28th, 2016, I lost my camera. And in that camera, it had 3 months of my work inside, 3 months of photos of my work. And from that point on, I felt like my project was going downhill. I felt like I couldn't do anything. I felt like I couldn't complete my project. So I felt like dropping out of high school from that point on. But I found out that I can do this, you know what? Because I'm Jesus Montes. I can do that. So I kicked my own butt and said, hey, do you know what? I can do this. Back up, and we started to practice the song, and we all decided to learn the song "Happy" by Pharrell Williams. Here are some of the signs that we trying to learn. We're kind of learning some of the signs such as sunshine, as you remember, over it and stuff, and chill and relax. So in February, I plan to make buttons and patches. So I kind of want to tie in my love for patches and also wanted to do something tied in ASL. So I plan to make buttons and patches for the Deaf and Hard of Hearing Advocacy Resource Center. So many words. And so, and the Deaf and Hard of Advocacy Research Center is also Professor David Kelsey. He is the president of that resource center. So I decided to make buttons and patches and donate to him to help him out. And on the right over there, you can see the flyer. We sold the buttons and patches on May 15th through 29th. Here are some of the designs I made. I did the basic "I love you" sign, or the crossed arms sign which says "love," or here's a quote that I wrote. It says, "My eyes are as my ear, and my hand is my mouth." And on the left side over here, we just started to practice a little bit more. We started, and Deaf Culture Club, we were like, we wanted to learn the sign for hurt, so we're like hurt, or hurt. So in March, I started to notice that some of my students were getting very, very tired of the song and just hearing the same song over and over again. And it was like, I am happy. No, I'm just like, I can't do that. I cannot do that. So we took a break from the song for 2 weeks. So we started to learn much more other stuff, such as natural disasters and holidays, and we wanted to learn also food. So for example, we learned the sign for tornado, which basically you're going to take 2 L's and just swing it around. So that's the sign for tornado. And then my other student on the left, he wanted to learn the sign for sausage. And I was like, so I might as well just teach him the word for sausage. So basically what you're going to do is make 2 fists, spread them apart, just like sausage. In the picture in the middle, we can see that we made a list of people what they want to learn, such as cook, cheese, movie, etc. So in April, I made shirts. As you can see the picture over here, here's the shirts that I made for my deaf culture kids. And we also started to sell buttons and patches for the Deaf and Hard of Hearing Advocacy Resource Center. And as some of you remember, we also did the talent show, the intermission part of the talent show. And I started to notice some of my students were kind of getting nervous and didn't want to participate in the talent show part. So I told them, it's okay, you don't have to participate in this show, because I know that it's really nerve-wracking for all the, even the seniors know how nerve-wracking it is to be up here. So sadly, in May, the Deaf Culture Club ends. So here's all my students here who made it all the way to the end. And everybody was like, oh man, I wish there was more of this. I want to learn more of deaf culture. And some of my students was like, will there ever be a Deaf Culture Club next year? And from that moment on, I knew that my project was a success. So what I learned that communication is very important. So of course you gotta communicate with other people to know what are you doing, what's this, what is that, and so on. I learned that teaching can be very fun and can be very interesting, such as learning new stuff, such as sausage. Learning can be fun. Of course, as I said before, when I went to first day of Nevada State College, I was very excited to learn. I was like, what is this? This is a whole new world for me. And I was very interested. I wanted more of it. And also, learn from your mistakes. Losing your camera, yeah, that is a very huge mistake. And so on. I will never bring a camera to another show again. And then in the end, never give up. Do not give up until the very end. Even though everything seems hopeless, never give up. So my special thank yous is to Nevada State College for teaching me ASL 1, Professor David Kelsey, of course, for coming here and teaching you guys about his life, Ms. Kinoshita for being my advisor, Ms. Chapman for giving me all the buttons and patches or materials I needed, my sister/assistant Diana Montez, who of course came to every one of my club meetings, my mom for being born. My students, of course, at Deaf Culture Club, EKA, Sam, Seth, Annabella, Cheyenne, Leah, Joelle, Rebecca, and Michael. I have to thank myself, of course, because I gotta pick myself back up, and I know I can do stuff. And you have to thank yourself, too, for once, because you guys made this happen. So thank you.